Hey, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about my end of summer back to school routine here in Indiana. Uh, we start early in my kiddos' township. Yesterday was their first day, so I'm just now getting a chance to record this. But I wanted to just kind of talk about the I guess the mindset shift that I try to have at this time of the year. Usually most of the summer I am kind of in denial about school starting again, and I don't even want to think about it. And then, by after the 4th of July, I kind of force myself to think about things. But it isn't just about like getting backpacks ready and back to school clothes. It really is kind of resetting my mindset, and I want to just kind of prepare us all for that emotional weight that can come with a big transition. Even my kids are staying within the same school, but it's different, every school year, different teachers, different classes. So preparing for that, I think, is important. So one of the first things that I do, and this is more for me than the kids, is they start school on a Thursday. And so I take that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, at least 2 of those days off. So, or I try to work a lot less so that I can kind of get prepared. We get our school supplies. We try to sneak in some last minute fun, sleep in, have that slow transition. And we can kind of gently shift our gears, because it can be hard. There's a lot of nervousness, even if they know what to expect and they're not just kindergartners, but that kind of excited anticipation of a new year and how it's going to go. And that can be hard on our nervous system. So those couple of days can like soften that landing. And then, the basics, we get things ready, we get whatever school supplies, which I have learned, with my kids' school district, that yes, they give out the supply list, but inevitably they get there on the first day and they need, a different folder or a binder or a notebook or something. So I then will just quickly order those online and not have to run around to more stores. And so I just get those essentials and then see what happens. The other thing that I do almost immediately, like this is probably first, is that I look at the academic calendar for the school year, and I put that into my Google Calendar. I put in all the e-learning days, all the breaks, the band concerts, all the things, field trips that we have coming up. And that goes in my calendar. And then, we're getting their schedule, making sure that there are bus assignments there. If you look at the school menu to see what is happening, and that can all go in one place, like on the fridge or in a folder or wherever. So these, first few weeks of school, we're not scrambling to remember like who needs to be where. So all of that goes in my calendar. I color code it for each kid, and that way I don't get caught off guard. I also, like, after I do that, I do a like slightly expanded version of my usual Sunday planning session. So that Sunday before school starts, I will look at not just that week, but like the next 45 days. So I want to make sure that, because, let's be honest, the first few weeks of school can be a little chaotic, and they have a lot of things going on, like, back to school night and open house and all those things that you want to make sure that you're aware of and on your calendar, so then the wheels don't fall off. So I'm kind of front loading all of those things, just even in my mental space, so I can keep things steady and I'm not surprised by anything that comes up. For my meal planning, these first couple of weeks while we get transitioned, I keep those pretty simple. They're things that are, don't take a lot of time to cook. It's been gross and humid here in Indiana, so those are kind of simple things that I'm not, baking in the oven for an hour. because again, less friction means more calm and an easier transition. But I think, the theme here, the most important thing overall is to just keep it simple. I try to remind myself we're not winning any awards here. We're just trying to make the transition with grace. And it's okay, if we're not perfectly organized. We're probably going to scramble around that very first day trying to get, in the car line on time. And so it's okay, like, if we don't have it perfect. So it's not just about like supplies and schedules, but it's also that mindset. The pressure to get it right can be so heavy for us moms, but every year I try to come back to this slower pace, kind of peace over perfection, presence over performance. And so that's kind of my end of the summer reset. I take time off to slow down. I prep the basics without really stressing about getting it perfect or having all the extras. I make sure all the schedules and routines are lined out and everybody knows what's going on. Keep that meal plan easy and simple for those first few weeks. And then, giving myself the permission to make a mistake or forget something. So you're allowed to protect your peace even during this back to school chaos rush that doesn't always feel very peaceful.